So welcome to today's Greater Life CoffeeCast. And with today's focus being the pillar of home, I was inspired to create this CoffeeCast that is more of an exploration of questions than it is necessarily anything that can offer clean answers or invitations. Because I came across a post yesterday from a gentleman named Carl Honore, who's done some amazing work. I think I've mentioned him before on this CoffeeCast around challenging the cult of speed and indeed challenging the perceptions and insidious assumptions about aging. And he spoke about the idea that the traditional perspectives on aging and on the human journey need to be updated. And those traditional perspectives being that there are three phases to life, essentially: learning, earning, and then retirement. And he and I kind of exchanged comments that so much has shifted to make that model outdated and obsolete, if indeed it was ever appropriate in the first place. And I noted at the time shifting socio-economic forces, like the fact that when that model came into existence, the social situation was such that a single salary could afford to feed a family and have a mortgage. So that there was a way in which child rearing and a house could be maintained. Now, of course, that came with a cost to women as a whole generally. But the principle was that nowadays both members of a family will need to work sometimes longer than they ever have just to keep food on the table and the roof over the head. Meaning that what I wanted to explore in this CoffeeCast, the idea of care, has also shifted dramatically. And just it really struck me as I was considering what to share today, just how much caring is becoming such a major thing in our world. And for me personally, it's been within my personal therapeutic journey a really deep and profound lesson in allowing myself to care for some of the things that I experienced and that me and my peers experienced through our boarding school education, and the ways in which our capacity for empathy was literally shut down by that system. And so that part of my journey and our journey for those others who are attending to those experiences is to learn once again what it is to care for things at a deep level, and to not brush under the carpet that certain things don't matter, and that when we allow ourselves to care for these things, to both care that they happened, i.e. give them significance, and also to care for them in terms of tending to the wounds of them, to care for the consequences of them, then we enter into a deeper meaning making. And of course, here as well, we are exploring the idea of care as something I discovered only the other day, much to my surprise, given my deep focus at the moment, building Greater Life and seeking to support enterprising over 50s, to recognise that so many in that group of over 50s, whether they have businesses or seek to have businesses or not, find themselves in what we call the sandwich generation, which is something I learnt about, where they are caring not only for children still, and often grandchildren still, but also for elderly relatives. And so that there is, because of the shifting age demographics of the population, there are many, many, many more thousands of people who find themselves with caring responsibilities as the mainstay of their day-to-day activities. And that trend likely is only going to increase, particularly in terms of over 50s as they become over 50, caring for elderly relatives. And sitting at the dinner table last night with my family who were visiting, we were discussing the need for alternative visions for care homes, where folks like my mother perhaps could choose to live in a really enjoyable, wonderful co-living arrangement in perhaps, a big seaside hotel or a big stately home with lots of others who are there voluntarily while they're still, full of life and living, yet knowing that when that starts to become challenged, that there will be caring arrangements put around them. And so they have their own space for as long as they need it. So I wonder, how is this conversation of care present and relevant for you? And of course, this ostensibly is a conversation about the pillar of home, about our relationships, about how we care for ourselves, each other, our homes. That care is so deeply a part of all of that. The care perhaps is the action that nurtures compassion. And as I speak, I also recognise that if you're listening to this and you do have a business, or you are seeking to have a business, to remind you that the growing trend towards caring and to meeting the needs of an ageing population presents such a wonderful opportunity for income and impact. That has always been the bottom line of how I've sought to go about enterprising, to create things that can enrich me as they enrich the world. That there should be indeed a triple bottom line. And so, if there could be ways in which your business benefits from an elder generation and serving them and supporting this trend towards a greater need for care, then to ponder perhaps this week, what could that look like? What might you want that to look like? Because without doubt, the market is growing. And as I think Alex Hormozy said the other day, like on a podcast that I listened to, bad entrepreneur, good market, the market wins. Good entrepreneur, bad market, the market wins. So what we know is that there is a rising surge of opportunity to find ways to care, to make a difference, and to be fairly rewarded for that. And to acknowledge that all of us are likely going to be called into a deeper level of care over the coming years, and perhaps to be ready for that, as whether it be conflicts or challenges around food security or economic hardships, that there is going to be a deepening, rising perhaps to need for care. And that indeed, where I spoke of the 2020s as being a decade of sovereignty, and I think we've seen that playing out with medical mandates and attempts to pass legislation that curb the right to protest and things like that, that perhaps heading into the 2030s we will see that being the decade of care very much, is my sense. So some things to ponder. This CoffeeCast, like I said, asks questions rather than brings anything that might constitute advice. It's just an invitation to be aware of some of these elements. And I hope that in me seeking to care for you, that you right now feel cared for and can perhaps pay that forward, can ripple out that love today as you go forward. All right. Have a great day.